as comedy should entertain people and at the same time make them better. I think that, according to my profession, I can't do anything more deserving than castigate vice of my age, exposing them to ridicule. From Molière's petition to the King of France concerning the comedy Tartuffe. On the 15th of January, 1622, record was made in the register of the Church of St. Eustace in Paris, christening Jean-Baptiste Poquelin, who would later become famous as Molière. His father, Jean Poquelin, was an upholsterer who ran his business so well that he was able to buy the position of the royal upholsterer and valet. When Jean-Baptiste was 15, he was admitted to the Upholsterers' Corporation, though by that time he had studied at the Collège de Clermont for 2 years, which was obviously needless for a craftsman. He didn't become either an official or an upholsterer. Instead, he decided to start his acting career. At the age of 21, Jean-Baptiste and some other inexperienced actors established a theater, and without false modesty, they called it illustrious. In the 17th century, the profession of an actor was considered to be base and mean, and that's why no one acted on stage using his own name. Jean-Baptiste Poquelin assumed the pseudonym of Molière. The illustrious theater existed 18 months, but it couldn't withstand the competition and suffered bankruptcy. Molière and his 7 friends made up their minds to try their luck in the provinces. 13 years of wandering was a severe school for them, but it helped Molière to discover his gift of a comic actor and a playwright. At first, he just altered Italian farces, adapting them for French audiences. Then shunned Italian patterns, beginning to add original elements more freely, and at last, he completely gave them up for the sake of his own works. Farces brought the company to fame as the best theater in the provinces. Having accumulated experience and money, Molière and his friends decided to return to Paris in 1658. Molière began by securing the patronage of the king's brother, Prince Armand Bourbon de Conti, and got the permission to show his performance to the king himself in the Louvre. The 20-year-old Louis XIV was delighted with Molière's farce and granted the theater the right to be called the Troupe de Monsieur, according to the unofficial title of Prince de Conti. After this, they became frequent guests in the royal castles, but didn't forget the Parisian public. The first plays written by Molière won the company the ardent love of metropolitan spectators. Molière's plays were an unprecedented success, but scandals about them were no less resounding. Malevolent people stated that he relied on the spoiled taste of the public, who forgot how to value tragedy, that he stole plots, and moreover, that he didn't respect religion. But the main accusations referred to his private life. The 40-year-old Molière married Armande Bessart, the younger sister of his old friend Madeleine. The youthful wife was 20 years younger than Madeleine, which caused various rumors. One of the actors working at the Hôtel Bourgogne, that was the rival of Molière's theater, sent the king a complaint where he stated that Molière married his own daughter. To protect his favorite actor, the king agreed to be the godfather of Jean-Baptiste and Armand's first child. Molière's enemies had to stop talking. The beginning of Molière's maturity was marked with The School for Husbands, written in 1661. The attitude of a woman is the main theme of the play and so-called the first circle of his comedies as a whole. Molière's relations with authorities, clergy, and aristocracy got more complicated. The plays of the playwright grew sharper and more pitiless. They just didn't amuse any longer. They caused a terrible sort of laughter that was cruel and acrimonious. We can see this demonstrated particularly well in his comedies of The Third Circle. As a result, Tartuffe was banned for 5 years. Don Juan disappeared from the posters after the 15th performance, and The Misanthrope was met rather coldly. During the last years of his life, Molière had more than enough problems and troubles, the intrigue of his rivals and the whims of the public. At last, the king grew appreciably cold towards Molière. He stopped paying him a pension and didn't want to see his last play, The Imaginary Invalid, at all. On the 17th of February, 1673, The Imaginary Invalid was performed at the Palace Royal. Molière played the role of Argan. During the performance, he started having convulsions, but the play finished. An hour later, he died. The priests of the nearby church refused to go to the comedian, and he didn't get absolution or renounce his profession as an actor. Only after the king's interference was Molière allowed to be buried. At night, by the light of torches, to avoid a public scandal, Molière's body was carried to the cemetery St. Joseph and dug in the place where only suicides and children who are not christened should be buried. And in the register of the Church of St. Eustace, the priest wrote that on the 21st of February, 1673, the upholsterer and royal valet Jean-Baptiste Poquelin was buried.